What is up, guys, and welcome back to another Grimlock video. I hope you are all having a fantastic day. So this is a collab I did with OCD Gaming and JD Yadig, two other fantastic Devastation Evoker players. And yeah, we figured we would go over what our thoughts were on the War Within for Devastation Evoker, as well as their hero talents, and what we think they could change, as well as what we think is really good as is right now. So I'm super excited to bring you guys this video. I hope you all have a fantastic day. If you enjoy this type of content, remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. And also, feel free to comment what specializations you would like to see in the War Within, because I plan on playing a bunch of stuff and making guides for all the stuff that I am going to be playing. So yeah, feel free to drop that down below in the comments as well, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Peace.
Alrighty, boys, we're here.
We are here.
How we doing?
I'm feeling
Doing
good.
good, buddy. It's
Feeling
a
good?
pleasure to be
Fuck
here
yeah.
with some of the sexiest pokers in the Noah community.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's
That's
very,
what I'm
very
talking about.
factual.
All right, so what we're going to be doing here today, we're going to be talking about Devastation Evoker. You know, how we kind of felt about it in Dragonflight, and how we think it turned out in PvP, moving into the War Within. So, JD, how'd you feel about Devastation Evoker throughout all Dragonflight?
Throughout Dragonflight, I feel like I was very excited when it first dropped. You know, I played Mage. I made Mage for like 8 years before that, and I really was looking forward to being able to play a new spec in class for the first time, because I really have never had that opportunity. Initially, it was very, very weak defensively. That kind of got better over the seasons, but as a whole, I mean, I feel like it really is just a glass cannon. The range is definitely something that we all still struggle with. But towards the end, it just seems that Blizzard just wants to just buff Disintegrate, so it's really what it comes down to for me.
I truly do remember those first couple patch notes that we just look over. It's like Disintegrate, 15% more damage. Why?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really what I would feel would be a top tier spec in like end game content. Kind of really just had to make it work, but I've been having a good time with it.
Awesome. Mr. Grimlock, what about you? How have you felt about Devastation Evoker?
Yeah, so, I mean, I've been playing PvP for years now. At least, like, 13 years. And
Hell yeah.
and I've been playing Spellcasters almost the whole time. Specifically Elemental Shaman and, like, Shadow Priest for a really long time. And, it's pretty comparable, in my opinion, to Elemental Shaman, but I think Elemental Shaman is overall, like, tankier. It just feels different. Like I don't know. I feel like Devastation is good, but a lot of people call it one button spec. But then you look at the damage breakdown, it's the same thing as like Lava Burst, really. You know what I mean? It's like Disintegrate and Lava Burst kind of share the same percentages. And I think it's just as like easy to play as those, honestly, or hard if you want to say it that way, I guess. But yeah, I think it's good, but it's not like game breaking, and I think it's missing a lot of things that would make it really good, but I would be willing to take a nerf in order to get those things, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I would rather do less damage and have some type of instant crowd control or something like that. Like every other caster in the game has an instant crowd control. And Devastation doesn't at all. So it just feels really weird, when you compare it to something like a Shadow Priest or a Mage or a Warlock. It's like, you have Silence, Psychic Horror, Dragon Breath, and then you have like Mortal Coil or something like that, for instance. All of those are instant cast, 4-second long crowd controls, and it's like Devastation just doesn't have something like that, so it kind of separates it, which is really weird. So I think that's where I stand on Devastation. It's really good damage-wise, but it lacks things that are like really crucial in PvP.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of feel the same way too, because they, before Devastation, I really didn't have a quote-unquote main. I just played absolutely everything because I'm a madman. I guess the one that I played the most, I'd say, at least at like a semi-high level, would be Hunter and Survival Hunter. So it's definitely different going to less range on a class that's considered a caster, but then we don't have all the tools possible to just get away from melees. So it's definitely been an interesting experience playing Devastation Evoker and getting used to how it plays and trying to, I guess, just relearn the game in a different way than normal, because it's either you're playing 40 yards or you're playing up close. We're stuck in this weird in between. So you definitely can't just play it like how you would any other caster, especially with the way our resources work and everything like that. So overall, it wasn't Devastation wasn't the strongest, but it also wasn't the weakest. There were times where it just definitely felt terrible, and I would have to say that would be like late season 1, early season 2 was like the worst of the worst for Devastation Evoker, I'd say. And then it got a little bit better towards season 3, and then season 4 just kind of, I think we quote unquote got a little bit better because everyone's health just increased, so we just do more damage, which I've always been a advocate of just changing the mastery, but I doubt that will ever happen.
There was like 3,000 comments on the forums that we were all preaching, like, listen, a reverse execute is not the play.
It's strange.
It's going to cause so many problems in all forms of content, mainly, but like, this game is, first and foremost, it's a PvE game, right?
Yes.
And nobody likes to do less damage based on, the fight, the health pools of your target. Like, it just feels terrible, right? Your execute phase is the phase where you really got to lock in. You got to, pop your cooldowns and, get it done. And Devastation just doesn't really fill that role for the caster.
Yeah, you're just kind of blue beaming and hoping for the best that you guys don't wipe because the boss enraged.
I will say, I think
Yeah.
part of the reason Devastation feels better now as well than it did in the beginning of the expansion for PvP, I think, is just because of like certain classes and like buffs and nerfs for those classes as well have affected us like drastically. Like, for instance, in the beginning of the expansion, like obviously RPS was really insane, and like it playing against like an RPS, you just don't play into those at all like anymore. It's really, really rare now. But back then, it's like, a sub rogue, for instance, would absolutely dumpster on us, right? But we never see them at all anymore. So I think the fact that like sub is really bad right now, it's not great, obviously. I think that helps us, in general. But if sub was really good right now, we'd also probably feel a lot worse as well, just because certain classes are better. So I think that's something weird to point out too about Devastation, is like we almost rely on other classes being bad. We don't like have any natural, I wouldn't say we have anything that we naturally counter, and we have nothing that we like naturally get countered by, but I think we just fall into this place where we revolve around other classes for our comps, and we also revolve around what other classes we're playing into. And it's like certain things just feel terrible to play into for us, which is really bad, Whereas like, for instance, like a Cupid Cleave, like, Cupid Cleave, you could play into a multitude of comps and feel fine into those. Whereas like for us, it's like, we might play into like a Ret Warrior and just absolutely hate our life. Something like that. like, and there's nothing we can do about that. Whereas like a Cupid, it's like, okay, well, we can kind of deal with this. You just can't as Devastation. It's like, so at the highest level at least.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. So yeah, that's kind of how we all feel about it. But moving forward with the War Within, I will say, after doing some of the testing on the beta for a while, messing around with different things, different builds, and all that stuff, Devastation doesn't feel terrible. It just feels different, but I'm hoping that's for the sole fact that the stats aren't properly prioritized yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, the damage
'cause-
just doesn't, and it's not tuned quite properly. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people are talking about other specs that they do no damage and they do too much damage, but that'll just come in time.
Yeah, but as for like the talents and everything, they did move some things around. As you know, you can see if you're looking on my screen at the moment in time. Source of Magic got moved more towards the lower right. It was in the middle where Renewing Blaze was, but now we can just build into that, and we can even have that just go down directly into Aerial Master now. I mean, we're gonna go with Rescue regardless anyway, but for the most part, it's pretty much stayed relatively the same on that side. And they did give us Spatial Paradox, which I've been testing a lot with that. It seems pretty insane. I think you can definitely do a lot of crazy things with that, especially when it comes to 3v3, because it also affects your healer's yardage, because now all your spells do 50 yards, and then your healer will be 60 yards on his spells. It affects everything except like Fire Breath and your Rescue, but everything else, it's fair game. 50 yards on that shit. Your Eternity Surge disintegrates. Even your Landslide, it goes to 80 yards now when you use Spatial Paradox, which is just disgusting.
Yeah, it's
It
insane.
just goes so far.
Your Fire Breath will hit him too, even though the reticle doesn't say
Oh,
so.
okay. Okay, yeah.
That's crazy.
Cool. That's dope. Now on the Evoker talent side, they did change some things. Like they just tuned some things with like Honed Aggression goes up to 20% now. They really want us to use the left side. So what's, you know, JD, I know you're a real big advocate for the left side. I'll let you lead off with this because
Sure. Yeah, so they really are trying to shake up the red side of the tree on this is the Devastation spec tree. With Feed the Flame, Scorching Embers, Imminent Destruction. It's just they're really trying to force this whole Firestorm thing. And, you know, Firestorm doesn't even do that much damage by itself. And a lot of people have been saying that
229k
yeah,
over
a
12
lot of people have been
seconds.
saying that it would be better if like you cast down something and it would just follow the target. That's really more of a kind of like a Mythic Plus thing, but like for PvP purposes, like we'll just never ever
Can I
get
just
value.
cut in? I think
is.
they should make Firestorm kind of like how they do Ring of Fire with Mage, where it puts a dot on the target, and so like when you hit it, you know, like kind of like a skill shot thing. So like if you hit the Firestorm, it puts the damage on them, so you don't have to like, they don't have to be in the Firestorm, but they get the dot. And then that would also
I'm really cool with that.
Yeah.
And I think that would also help like Flame Shaper as well, because Flame Shaper is not as good as Scale Commander, in my opinion, personally. But
Flame Shape was made for preservation, I'll be honest here.
yeah.
Yeah. Because I get, like, they want to have, like, oh, more spells to throw on the ground. You know, mages have that. Warlocks have that. I get it. But with the way Devastation's designed, I feel like it doesn't really fit its playstyle in general. Because, you know, we have Fire Breath, Deep Breath, Eternity Surge. You're usually using those more often. So if you made it more like a skill shot, and it would just be more free-flowing and just like everything else with, like, Dev. Because, you know, if you're using your Fire Breath into the Pyres, you're getting your iridescence value from that, and then you could do like a Firestorm snapshot out of that. But instead, it's a 20-second cooldown and a 2-second cast time.
Yeah,
That's
Magic.
terrible.
You know, the first use that I found for Firestorm in the beta, like early beta, was I wanted to maybe get rogues out. That was my use for it. That was the only thing I could think of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even then, they could just step kick you if they really wanted. Step sap, or like they could even have like a warlock pet kick you on that, because it's almost 2 seconds, 1.8 second cast time.
Honestly,
Warlock's
like
still gotta fucking cast that shit.
Something they could do to make it even better, possibly, like, just to make it more free-flowing to how Dev plays, because the thing is again, we don't have any instant cast crowd control, so to keep somebody in Firestorm is just never gonna happen. And I think if like, again, like if it applied the dot would be a huge thing for us, and then two, if like Burnout like maybe gave us instant cast as well as Snapfire, because like we just don't get enough instant casts. It's just not Like, you just can't get enough instant cast in PvP. You're not spamming Living Flame enough, you know?
Because
It's
I
just so
think
bad.
that can definitely help it, especially, you know, when we're getting kicked on disintegrates. You know,
Yeah.
we not only do we get kicked on our main ability that is a channeled cast, but also just takes away our essence when we get kicked. Because
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's brutal.
But that would just help more in general, because not only we getting kicked on our main ability, we're losing our essence because haha, you gotta channel it, but then now we're just standing there hard casting, like, how long is the cast time? 2.1 second cast time Living Flame? Yeah, okay, cool, dude. And another thing I don't get, why they keep doing to this class specifically, I've seen this on no other class, why do they give us abilities that increase the cast time? They do it
You got
on
me on that one,
Flame,
buddy.
and then they do it on Dreamcatcher.
Dreamcatcher,
Why
yeah.
can't we just have things?
Yeah, it's weird.
You can't have nice things.
We just get
Dude,
buff nerfed. Like,
I don't get it. It's so strange to make it so that we can actually spam our fear, but now it takes longer. But now we need the stack mastery because it's reverse execute. We get no value, so it's gonna cast longer. It's just
it's
miserable.
like a never-ending cycle. Yeah.
It really
Another
is.
thing that I hate too as a PvPer in the Devastation Evoker tree, and I know this is just natural in all trees. Sometimes you pick up things that you just don't need at all just to get to the next step. But like dense energy as a talent has driven me insane since I started playing Dev. Like, there is zero reason for this to be a talent that we have to get in order to get like Engulfing
right.
Blaze. It's just so useless, and we've always had to get it. So I wish they would like change the position of that a little bit.
Don't forget Power Swell.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
power spell. You know what ability I really like that is just hard to even get, but I love it? Recall.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
also really
dude.
hard to get to.
That's a great
Yeah.
ability, even though unfortunately it's on global.
So dumb. Just make it off global. Move it somewhere else where I can just grab it, dude.
Yeah, put it right above like Leaping Flames, where Protracted Talons is, just so that
Oh, that'd be
sure I
really
have
bad,
to
yeah.
choose. But fine.
Or even Exuberance, dude.
Yeah,
move it to
something that
Exuberance
would make more
location.
sense. Having it gated behind regeneration just feels strong.
10%. Wow. I'm just gonna get kicked on anyway, dude. Like, come on. Also, make Forge of the Mountains baseline. Make a baseline.
I always thought like
Yeah, it's
Voyager
weird.
or whatever landslide should have been like 30 seconds. Like I'm totally fine operating at 25 yards, but just give me more tools to do so.
Give me the tools to make it so I can do
A
that.
minute 30 is really long.
Strange, yeah.
Very strange.
Yeah,
But-
there is definitely some weird talent choices.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I also, not to like keep going, but
Go ahead.
for some reason, like, we have a lot of mandatory talents that we'll never swap out of too. So like for instance, Obsidian
Yeah.
Bulwark, that's just a must pick always. There's no chance we never take it.
Mm-hmm.
Like for at least Dev, you know, I think Preservation can
Oh.
get away with not taking it, but like, yeah, there's certain talents that we just are must picks. Is super weird.
Yeah.
It's really strange. I hate that.
Speaking of talents, what are we liking about the hero talents? What are we liking about it? JD, what are you liking so far, huh?
Well, you know, as a Devastation main, I feel like the only useful one right now is going to be Scale Commander.
Blue beat.
It's
blue
yeah,
beat.
it's just the better one on paper with everything that you do get. The only unfortunate part about this is that it kind of changes the functionality of Deep Breath. You can no longer use your
Yeah.
cursor macro for it. You kind of have to like face where you're going and then do it. Which is kind
Not
of
only
awkward.
that, not to cut you off, but
Mm.
I feel like now we kind of just gotta throw our hovers away so we can just get value from the slipstream. To Deep Breath resets the cooldown of our hovers. So I feel like if you just use it, like if say you're doing Frost DK, Mistweaver, Devastation, you know, you're waiting for your go setup. I feel like you're just kind of wasting a talent point in the hero talent spectrum if you're going slipstream and you're not using your hovers. But then it's also just like, it's weird because now you're just like, it's forcing you to just use your hovers if you want any value from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Flame Shaper just doesn't bring it doesn't pack a punch with Devastation because It's just flame sabers all centered around if you have dots on your
Yeah.
target, and you don't have any dots. The most you could possibly have would be 2.
We have
That'd be your fire breath dot
Fire
and then
breath.
the enkindle dot, right?
Yeah, and
So
then you
that's-
could technically go Ruby Embers, but it's
Yeah,
I mean, if
absolutely
you hate
terrible.
yourself.
It's
No.
horrible. Yeah.
The window is so short, and imagine getting kidneyed.
No, yeah, that's
Dude.
why I'm saying I swear, like they should just make Firestorm a dot. It would feel so much cleaner. If
They
they,
just need to change Ruby Embers, honestly.
yeah, it's horrible. It's
I
so
will say
bad.
that Scale Commander just bolsters what we already do. It doesn't really change much. It just adds that kind of extra layer of dot slash like team utility with the bombardments. Like everyone just like is cranking the one guy to
Yeah.
make that happen, which I'm fine with. But yeah, my rotation is not really gonna change anything really.
Yeah.
Even though I do take it.
I will say in Flame Shaper, like if you utilize Flame Shaper not for damage but for survivability, you could be pretty tanky. But it's really lame. Like
It's such a long cooldown, bro. Once your 2 charges of Engulf are gone, you have a dead tree.
yeah, but they're only 30-second recharges, so you can rotate them on a 30-second cooldown. But I will say having like Life Cinders is really nice. Being able to Renewing Blaze your teammate is really good.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Pop
pretty.
out,
That is
yeah.
pretty cool.
It's pretty insane. You could pull off some really cool things with Shape of Flame, but it's just never going to happen because every single time you would want somebody to miss their attack, it's most likely a cast, and if you tail swipe or wing like them anyways, their cast is going to be interrupted. You know what I mean?
I wish it would just be like kind of like a Searing Glare, honestly.
Yeah, it
Like,
really
just-
should be. Yeah.
Just throw it on there and then you could dispel it if you wanted to, you know. But just for it to be that next attack, if you do that to a rogue, cool. You know what he's gonna do? He's gonna cheap shot and then he's just gonna kidney you because he's just gonna waste the fucking thing.
Yeah, or he's
Just
just
to
going
kid
to
you.
press cheap
Yeah.
shot again because he has Subterfuge or Dance
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah,
Like they actually
exactly,
just
yeah.
don't care at all about it.
I can't think of a scenario like now that I'm really looking at this, I can't think of a scenario
It's
which
just
is
there's
ever
none.
good.
I'm telling you, there's none. Yeah,
I'm telling you.
it's like the only time is if you happen to like hit a pally before they're about to like hodge or something, then use it as like a grounding. But that would be it, and you would have to
But-
predict it so hard, you know.
Yeah, and you gotta be close for it too.
Yeah,
That's the
you have to be
issue.
on top of them, like closer
And-
than they
and,
have to be
like,
for hodge.
You know, if especially if you're going to like top end gameplay, right?
Yeah,
You're gonna be on top of the person. You're gonna knock them up. It is such a like. Oh, by the way, I blinded you by doing this. By the way, because it's such a telegraph thing. You
Yeah.
knock them up. They're like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I got knocked up. If he's a flame shaper, chances are I'm gonna see it before this even happens into the game. I'm gonna know because it's gonna have a debuff. Someone's gonna make a freaking
and
a weak aura for it, dude. Like, hey, you
and
blinded,
even
oh.
with this being like a PVE game, in PVE I can't even see a reason for Shape of Flame. Like it just doesn't make sense logically for it to be on tail swipe and wing, because in PVE the things you would interrupt with it are casts. Like it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. So it's actually useless. I swear it's so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it has like semi benefit to like trash mobs maybe, but even then it's just bad.
That sounds kind of cope.
Yeah, it's just bad.
Yeah, I mean, so overall, it's Scale Commander's just looking a lot cleaner just because we don't have to switch anything up. We don't have to worry about, you know, applying dots to our targets, keeping those dots up. It's weird because it's trying to make us play like a dot style class without giving us dots, and then just like that's it. You know, it's again, it's not even. They don't think of dev when they're making things. It's clear
They
as
were
day.
always the last to get
It's
things.
clear as day because they started making Flame Shaper for preservation. Like, oh shit, dev needs something. It always goes back to that. They're like, oh god, no, we didn't do something for dev. Because even with Scale Commander being on dev, augmentation doesn't better. I hate to say it. They just do so much more damage with it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so much scarier on augmentation. Than
I mean,
it
you
is
gotta think it
Devastation.
literally has a talent that increases black spell damage, which is all of
All of
augmentation's
aug's damage,
damage.
yeah.
So it's like it just caters to them so much harder. Too.
Yeah, It does, because you can do so many modifiers to one eruption to make it hit over 2.5 million easily, non-crit.
Yeah, and also at the bottom too, menacing presence, like knocking enemies up or backwards reduces their damage done to you by 15% for 8 seconds. That applies to every upheaval, and Dev just doesn't have that. Like, so it's just so much worse.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah,
actually,
menacing
so
presence is just so much better.
I didn't even
Again,
think about that before you said it. My God. That's
Yeah,
so
it's-
no,
broken.
yeah,
it's
dude,
crazy
I've been
for
using
Og,
that.
yeah.
It's insane. It's insane, because you know, you do your upheaval, and then you can run the talent that your every eruption reduces its cooldown.
Yeah, you'll get it every like
You're gonna have it
25,
so
30
much-
seconds.
Yeah, dude.
And
Especially
it's 8
if
seconds long.
people
Yeah.
aren't training you.
No,
You're
yeah.
just free casting eruptions.
Yeah, you're going to have menacing presence up like probably 35% of the game as Og. Genuinely. If not longer, because you're not even counting in like tail swipe or wing buff anyways. So like if you did wing buff and tail swipe and upheaval, you could actually have this up for like 40 seconds straight. You know what I mean?
It's so toxic.
Yeah,
but it's
it's-
so
it's a
good.
long-
It is insane. But yeah, you just can't do that as Dev though. You know what I mean? It just
Yeah.
like it's so weird.
Overall, I think with the War Within, at the start of the expansion, augmentation is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe later
Nuts.
on, Devastation might see some light. It's all going to depend on when and how the stats change, and if they even look at Devastation's kit at all. Because the way they're going about it is they're just trying to get you down this talent tree for like snap fire shit and all that. We don't want that in PvP.
It's bad.
No one even wants that in PvE. So I don't know why they keep pushing the red fire agenda when it's just garbage. They really just need to look at certain talents and rework them entirely. Again, Ruby Embers.
Yeah.
I'd be down for it being just
You know what I would
One
like to
stack.
see, genuinely, is if they changed Ruby Embers, to make it even harder of a choice, is if they made Ruby Embers an extra dot that, like, Disintegrate applied, instead of doing anything Living Flame related. Because then you would have to choose between whether you want your Living Flame to
yeah.
do a lot more damage, or if you'd want to just go full into Disintegrates, and then, like, it's still a dot, so it would actually help Flame Shaper a lot, especially rotationally, because it just feels terrible to play Flame Shaper right now. Like, it actually feels
Yeah.
so clunky
It
to play
does.
Flame Shaper.
It does. It really
Yeah.
does. Like, yeah, you can hit pretty big engulfs, but that's just
I don't
it.
know-
You hit them one time, and then you're like, oh, okay.
Right. I don't know if it's because I like have really low haste on beta, but the globals it takes to like get up Ruby Embers and apply Enkindle and then like use your
Trust me, it's
like,
not just you.
yeah, it's like deep breath and then you Eternity Surge, like Shattering Star, Eternity
it's
Surge,
falling off by
hit
that
five-
time.
yeah, and then you're like, it's just bad. Dude. It's so weird.
It's definitely not good.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's they just really need to look at dev. I swear to God, everything could be like changed, and we'd be a lot happier dragons if they just changed the mastery to something that's on a reverse execute.
I'll give him more
Therefore-
range, like comparable range to actual casters.
More range too. I'm tired of this propaganda. I want more fucking range.
Yeah, that's fair.
I shouldn't have to go spatial paradox to make up for the range loss for just 10 seconds. That's like, I think spatial paradox will be good, but the thing that's killing it for me for Devastation, again, it's just for Devastation, it's a 3-minute cooldown, bro. Augmentation doesn't give a shit about that.
I have a question for you guys. Would
up?
if they made Permeating Chill a choice node and made it so that instead of Permeating Chill you could just go like 35-yard range instead. And then you had to choose between your Disintegrate being a perma-slow or having a 35-yard range. I feel like that would be a good trade-off, right? Because then versus melee cleaves, we would probably play Permeating Chill. And then versus like casters, we would swap, right? So, like,
I would love that.
I think that would be
Honestly.
logical, right? Because we don't really need to have a perma-slow, especially with the comps we play, right? Like we play with DKs, we play with Demon Hunters. All of those have slows, just built into the rotation practically. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah. I think at that point though, they're gonna hate on the fact that everyone's gonna hate on it, blah blah blah. Especially if we're playing with the comps that already have the slows, because now we're not
Yeah.
forced locked into the slow.
Yeah.
I think it'd like be a no-brainer to always go like 35-yard range.
But a lot of
whatever.
people complain about us having the slow too. Like imagine being a warrior in us, right? It's like in the 1v1 it's so
fucking
annoying.
Happy.
Yeah, nobody's happy. So I feel like if we had a 35-yard range, maybe they just make permeating chill like that instead.
I've dueled
so
some
better.
people on beta. I've used crippling force and then like that spatial paradox, and people are saying that's so OP. Dude, this is
It's a 1v1. Yeah.
It lasts 10 seconds. Feel free to use the defensive if you want. You know, a gap closer even. You got a lot of them. I know you do.
Yeah.
So spatial paradox isn't going to be as OP as I think everybody thinks it's going to be. It's going to be nice.
The fact it only lasts 10 seconds on a 3-minute cooldown is really scary.
That's the thing that kills me. That's the thing that kills me. Because like you can make some cool ass plays that you could.
Definitely.
You could 50-yard range sleep a DPS while like say you have a holy paladin rep a heal the heal target or whatever 60 yards away.
But better yet, dude. Imagine playing with a resto druid and their clone is 45 yards now instead of 25.
Dude,
you know, I mean
that's
beautiful.
insane.
That's insane.
That's insane. Yeah.
They don't have to push in for clone now. They could just sit back. Big chill.
And that would and if you're playing with Prez, it helps Prez out a lot in general.
Yeah.
Because if they're in a situation where somebody's getting like just absolutely destroyed, but they know they don't have trinket, they don't have commune, and they just need the range to just free cast, you can give that to them. The 60 yards right there, just spamming living flame, spirit bloom, dream breath, whatever they want right then and there. They can do it.
You know what this is making me think of, guys? I think we need, when the War Within comes out, we need to hit another triple dev session with spatial paradox, and then we all have it. And for 30 seconds straight, we all have 60-yard range. There's no way people would have any fun.
Yeah,
I think
somebody plays Flame Shapers and our healer.
Yeah, I'm the Flame Shaper guy. I'm gonna make it work. I'm telling you.
Oh God. So I guess if you can pull anything from this Yap session, is Devastation still needs a lot of work done to it.
Yeah,
they're building
like
so many things.
I mean, we've been crying and bleeding.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I'm crying, like, bro.
They just always get to us last for whatever reason, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like, you get all these classes that get like these complete like retalents and everything, and like everything makes sense, and then you look at Dev's kit, you're like, why?
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 Yeah.
Because again,
it's really unfortunate that it just because of those facts, like we're just pigeonholed into playing with certain things.
Yeah.
We just can't play with just simply everyone.
Because with the stats again, if they change the mastery so it's not like we have to dump mastery or else we get no value, we could play so much better with more haste because it'll be a lot cleaner. Because the short times when you put the haste propaganda on me, JD, it felt good. I'm like, damn, I'm doing things. I can cast things. I'm sleeping fast. I can do things.
Yeah, it's nice.
Low mastery just feels terrible, dude. Like, wow. I take me 8 years to cast my Eternity Surge. Oh, I'm kicked? Crazy. Who would have thought?
I will say, like, I feel like they just need to rework the mastery a lot. And like, they need to not make it our burst talent either. I think it's really weird that our burst talent, like our actual burst ability, is just giving us our mastery at full effect. That's just like really strange. Like
that is very strange.
Like that just shouldn't be a burst. Like that, it just feels weird, right? It's just kind of strange.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, why not just give us like an actual burst ability and then make our mastery something different entirely? I don't know.
Because mages, they got fire mages got combust, increase their damage through their critical strike chance, increasing it.
Yeah.
Then Frost has Icy Veins. Paladin gets wings, which their wings can do haste and damage increase. Warriors get Avatar, which is just a straight damage increase. Like, I get, like...
Also, not to interrupt, but if we don't take Tyranny for some reason, our Dragon Rage actually does air. It's the most useless burst talent, like burst ability in the game. like I mean it does do stuff. Like, we get Essence Burst, yeah, but it does nothing
You know,
for us though. You know what I mean? Like
I completely spaced that.
but like you need to take Tyranny for it to do anything burst related. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. That and
Like that's such a weird concept for a burst ability. It's so
it's
bad.
also very strange how far down it is from Dragon Rage too.
Yeah, it's not like animosity right under
It's
it.
just in a weird space.
Like maybe just make Tyranny, you know, part of Dragon Rage and make Tyranny not a talent. I don't know. Like it's just like
Or just put Tyranny and Animosity in the same thing. I mean,
yeah. There's no
You know
reason.
what Dragon Rage would do if we didn't take that? What would it do? Just give us Essence Burst?
It just gives us Essence Burst. Yeah, it launches the pyres, but those are useless.
damn, that's crazy. I didn't like really think of that until now. That's dumb as shit. We're dumb. Our class is dumb.
It's terrible. Like
Everyone hates us.
we literally need to take 3 talents for our burst ability to do anything actually useful at all. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, if you want to be technical, we got to go Dragon Rage, Animosity, and either 2 into Heat Wave or 2 into Honed Aggression, then Tyranny.
Right. That is true.
That's disgusting. That
Yeah, 4 extra talent points to make our Dragon Rage actually be a burst ability. And if we don't take it, we are just missing out on the highest burst in the game.
It just
It's like
we come full circle. It's this devastation
Just
is
a
not made
bad
by somebody who
design.
plays the game.
yeah, it's just a bad design.
It is simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just weird. It just doesn't make sense, man.
he's getting tilted.
Like, dude, you know what'd be cooler is if Dragon Rage made us like have like a 40% chance to crit, and then it just had nothing to do with mastery. At least then
just
I would feel
crit
like I was
baseline.
getting
Just
something.
100% chance of kill, like combustion.
Right, that would be insane. Actually, that would make us so much better and more consistent too. You know what I mean?
Just rework the mastery. I saw somebody in the forum say not too long ago that, what if we just had, you know what our current tier set bonus is right now with the Obsidian, Shards?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I've been saying that ever
Just
since
make
they
it
made that.
and then unnerf the
I've
damage portion,
been
and
saying
it'll be
that
fine from there. Honestly,
That's what like Ellie Shaman had basically that same mastery, and they reworked it into a talent this expansion. But it used to be that like when you hit somebody as Elemental Shaman, you for 6 seconds after you hit them, it would do like a percentage of your damage over time, and that's what they
Right.
should do with Dev. It's
What was it like? Was it or is that a talent?
It's a talent
like
right now,
The
no.
earth ability, like the
Yeah.
little earth shards.
it's called Earthen Rage. Yeah.
Yeah.
That used to be one of their masteries like a long time. I think in Legion, something like that. So
Yeah.
it's just interesting. So, I mean, if they've changed mastery before, it's not like this is new. You know, this is something they've done
Yeah.
before for classes. So I don't see why they wouldn't do it for Dev, especially because it would make PvPers and PvEers happier. You know what I mean?
I think their excuse at this point, which isn't justifiable, but hey, they don't want to do it because then they're going to have to go through and figure out all the percentages for the
Yeah, it's a
damages because
big
everything's tied to mastery. But also, maybe you should have had people test it before just dumping this garbage class out. I don't know.
yeah, it's a little unfortunate.
It's,
that's a great thought. I mean, you know,
I don't know. It's just a thought. I mean,
There's something to
got
that.
betas for a reason, dude.
I mean, dude, the first talent we pick up in the tree, we don't use in PvP. Like the very first one. It's just so weird. You know, like I don't think there's another talent in the game for any spec where you don't use the very first one you pick up. Like you just don't use Pyre ever. It's so bad. Like
The only time I use it, if I'm kicked and I just want to be running.
yeah,
If I'm kicked on blue and I'm running and I have some essence, I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll do this. I don't want to.
But even then, it's bad.
There's no time where I look at Living Flame like, yeah, I want to cast that right now. Even when I have, where is it? The reduce the Ancient Flame. I don't want to cast it still.
It's
Like
still such a long cast,
yeah.
It's what? Let me. 1.2 seconds for one Living Flame.
I will say,
and I gotta use a Blossom or a Verdant Embrace, and then those are. I'm tied to cooldowns once again.
in the Flame Shaper tree, there's a talent called Burning Adrenaline, and when you engulf, it reduces the cast time of your next spell by 30%, guys. Okay? So if you really want to get off that one Living Flame, you just press Engulf, a 30-second cooldown, beforehand, and then you can Living Flame, and it actually might be the same cast speed as a Frostbolt. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's
Seems like a lot of work.
so bad,
so bad.
dude. Yeah, it's actually so bad. I mean,
sorry everybody. We're done playing Dev. We're all gonna be Aug mains. I hate to break it to you.
I'm gonna be the Dev one trick. I gotta make it work.
Yeah.
And when I'm stuck at
it's making-
2100 and everybody else is 2800, I'm gonna swap to Aug. But then I'm gonna make it work. I promise. You know what would make Engulf good? Make it so that it's not our periodic effects, it's everybody's periodic effects, and then it'll just one-shot people, because then I could just play with like an Unholy DK and it's like 3 diseases. You know what I mean? I mean, come on. Right, an Afflock.
Crazy.
It would just open up our comps, guys. We could play with an Assassination Rogue, and when they deathmark,
Oh my god.
I mean, come on. Yeah, no, there's there's literally no saving Flame Shaper. It needs to be reworked for Dev for sure.
That's so funny how they come out with this like, nah, it needs to be reworked. Because they don't think of Dev.
I mean, maybe
No.
once we get a lot of haste, it'll feel smoother to play, but it just feels way too clunky compared to Scale Commander. Scale Commander just feels better in general.
Until, again, fucking broken record here, until they rework the Mastery, we're still going to be running like 10 to 15% haste.
Yeah, it's just not worth it.
Or every other class is like 30 plus.
It might be time to play with a Shadow Priest, ladies and gentlemen, so we get power infusion. I think it's time. It's game over for him.
It's gotta be.
And we definitely, I know I said this in the beginning, but like they really need to give us an instant cast crowd control. Even if it's a minute cooldown for 4 seconds, I just want something that I can press to get into a sleepwalk, because I cannot stand having to spam press anything like sleepwalk. And it's just the worst crowd control in the game too. Like on top of that, it's like the longest cast time. It has a cooldown. It's so weird.
You know what's crazy?
It can break. What's up?
Well, yeah. I was just thinking of this right now. You know, why don't they give us something like Dragon's Breath so that we can set up a sleep? Obviously, don't make it fucking share the same thing as sleep, because I'll be very upset if you guys give us 2 sleep DRs.
Listen, I would even take that, because then I could just use that and ignore sleep altogether. I just want something I can press and keep somebody in crowd control. That's it.
Or give us something like a Fell Eruption. Just make it Earthen. Don't make it Fell Eruption. Earthen Eruption. Fuck you. You got it. Boom. There you go. We got a 2-second stun that we can go into a sleep.
Or they could just give us
Like it.
Aug's like upheaval landslide thing, where like we can actually stun things. Give us that. There's no reason we don't have that. In that way,
because you're blue and red magic.
I guess. I mean, shit, dude. Take away my deep breath, I guess. Fuck, man.
I guess.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's cooked.
Dude, or like if you're gonna make me take a choice between Forge or Mounds. How about that? You choose a root or you choose a stun.
I mean, I feel like
I'm choosing stun at the time.
yeah, I was gonna say that's just never gonna not be played. But
I mean, they want to give me stupid talents.
Sure.
Do that, and then give me a good one to choose instead of the stupid talent.
I'm trying to think what they could do like with the tree they have now, but I actually swear they would just have to give us a new ability, because like
they absolutely
the
would.
only thing I could see is like if they change Terror of the Skies to not be a stun on our deep breath, but be a stun on something else. But I don't think anything else makes sense to be a stun of ours. Like there's literally not a single ability we have that would be like, yeah, that makes sense for that to be a stun instead. It's just not the case. So I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, you know what's another thing I wanted to mention too? There is no reason why we shouldn't have Dream Projection as a PvP talent either. Like, I feel like Dev should have access to that, considering Aug has access to it, and like I mean, we share the tree with, we share the healing tree with Preservation in hero talents. There's no reason why we don't have Dream Breath, right? Or Dream Projection, right? Surely.
I
don't know.
They gotta change some of these PvP talents.
Yeah.
They gotta get rid of Swoop Up. It's just a waste.
I was just looking at that.
Whatever happened to them making that a 1 minute cooldown? I thought that was supposed to happen.
They Yeah, they don't care.
I forgot about it.
For gore.
Yeah, shocker. They just need replace soup up. Just give us dream projection with that.
Allow us to chrono
Or
loop our
to death.
teammates. Oh my god, dude! Do you imagine how broken that'd be? Oh, it'd be so good.
That'd be kind of cool.
If we could chrono
Obviously,
loop our
it would have to
teammates,
be-
dude, it'd be so good.
It would have to be a longer cooldown, I'd say, because then that's just like you
I
could
think-
essentially just lay a hand. That's kind of like Mage's altar
It is, yeah,
at that point.
yeah.
So I guess
would
you
ha-
could make it like, because altar is a 45-second or a minute cooldown.
It's a minute.
Alter's short because of like shifting power. I think like they alter and then they blink and then they shifting power and then it's back down to like
Either
a 30-second
way.
cooldown. It's so dumb. But either way,
They
yeah.
could make it a minute cooldown for chrono loop. I would take that if we could use it on teammates to back to the 1 minute cooldown.
I think that would be pretty
down with that.
sick. Yeah. Especially because you could
Um,
still die with chrono. So you'd have to use it at a high percentage. It's not like you could just use
Yeah.
it low. You know what I mean? You'd have to predict damage,
Yeah,
which is good.
And you would you'd have to talk to your teammates too, because then if your healer's just dumping big heals and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oops."
Yeah. And it's counterplayable because then, like, friends, just like Alter, like, say I chrono loop somebody at 80% health, like a teammate, and then they drop to 20% and then get purged, then it's, like, really dangerous, right?
Yeah.
So like, and it's not like Alter in the sense that you can repress it. I feel like you would have to have it time out for chrono loop because you could use it on teammates.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, like, that would make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Change the Dreamcatcher, please. Thanks. And
Yeah,
I keep reading it. It just pisses me off. It's just,
100%.
it has no longer has a cooldown, but its cast time is increased by 0.2 seconds. Cool.
And it's unreal
So
how
it-
much that matters. Like, it actually does. It's
because we
significant.
have such little haste.
Yeah.
The
It is
point
so
two
big.
doesn't matter. Like when I was playing a lot of haste, I'm like, wow, whatever, cool. I'm casting fast.
Right.
When I can't stack haste, it's terrible. It's miserable.
It's weird because we have some of the better PvP talents, but also some of the very worst at the same time. So it's
Oh
like,
yeah, a bird in flight, obsidian metal, nullifying shroud,
Oh,
even
insane.
time stop, crippling force, fantastic.
Scouring Flame is crazy good.
Scouring flames
Like,
insane. Yeah, that
yeah.
shit's so good. And then they're like, whoa, what about Dreamcatcher? How about doing walkers and blaze?
Yeah.
Cat? No.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But, yeah, I mean, there's stuff they can do. I mean, like I said, give us Dream Projection. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to choose that. And then, like, give us an instant cast crowd control, and then rework our mastery, and I'd be super happy, honestly.
I'd just be so happy with a mastery rework and
Maybe
some
a little
range,
bit more
dude.
range too, and I can call it
Yeah, you pepper in some range into that. I'm a happy camper. I can play this class.
I always tell people, like, when they ask me, like, oh, what does Dev play like? I'm like, it's literally just a Windwalker monk. It's a Windwalker monk with, like, spells that you can get kicked on.
Here's a thing that I'm going to just touch on real quick that just kills me. Fucking kills me. So augmentation, just real quick, not devastation. Augmentation got its whole entire right tree completely just thrown about, right?
Mhm.
It makes so much more sense. It's so much cleaner. You get better spells, better choices, and you're not wasting all these points. But then they also have something called Arcane Reach. The range of your helpful
know.
magic is increased by 5 yards. Why is it just for augmentation?
Yeah. Yeah, it's strange.
Why? Why?
Again, they
And-
just like that spec.
They do. They do. Yeah, they truly do.
Which is funny
'Cause
because
everything.
it also
so much
has
better.
bad talents too. But it's like,
yeah.
it's just, you don't
But
need
now
to
you
take
have
them, though, because you have so many
you have
good
s-
ones.
You have so many good options to be able to work around now, dude. Like seismic slam's only 1 point now, so that's just a free
Yeah.
I ain't got it.
4-second stun if you wanted that. Where we got upheaval cause. This one's insane, by the way. Upheaval
winner.
causes an aftershock at its location,
Yeah.
dealing 50% of its damage 2 additional times.
Yeah.
So it just does more damage twice because it
Get stressed
can.
out thinking about it.
Yeah.
and then-
and
and
then
then
you could
the-
time
you-
skip and then do it again, which is just.
you get imminent destruction on this side too, and it's good. because you use Eruption all the time, and its damage is increased by 10%, and it's just reduced by 1% essence cost. So it's just a win-win, and then it goes into the plot of the future where you get breath. Your Breath of Eons just gives you Fury of the Aspects. Why don't we just fucking kiss this goddamn class's ass, dude? Jesus Christ.
I know.
Yo,
There's
and
so many things.
if you take Chrono Warden, for some reason, like they have Temporal Burst, which makes Tip the Scales a PI, which is crazy. Like you can, that is insane, because then your burst is like so much smoother. You give yourself PI, and you also have Bloodlust as well. So you're actually casting at like a 0.3 second cast, not even, for like Eruption.
Not only that,
it's so
but
crazy.
Upheaval deals 50% additional damage over 8 seconds, just because why not?
It's also very good, yeah.
But then also, if every time you do damage, for each damage over time effect from Upheaval, you gain 3% haste up to 9% for free.
Interesting. Yeah.
Both of them are just really good in general. Chrono Warden definitely has like a lot more.
I like Chrono Warden personally.
Like just cool aspects to it.
I like the way
And Scale
Warp
Commander is
works
just raw
too.
damage.
It's like a delayed blink.
That
It's
blink is
interesting.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
It's so
crazy.
good. Dude, it literally gets you out of like static totems and everything.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's insane. Like it's so good.
Yeah.
But before we go into more like yapping about shit, we just wrap this up. If you guys, anybody wants us to cover augmentation, I will more than be happy to do that. I could glaze about this spec all day now, dude. It is so good in the War Within. It is so good. But you know, that's everything. JD, Grimlock, thank you guys so much for taking the time to just yap about all this stuff. I greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yep, can't wait till the Augment, buddy.
Oh, it's gonna be just a glaze fest, dude. It's literally just gonna be, yep, no, this class, fantastic. Nothing it could go wrong.
I'm just gonna be missing Flame Shaper. That's all I'm saying, guys. I mean, it's I think Aug needs it. No. But if you guys do want to see Flame Shaper Devastation Evoker content, please make sure to check out the Grimlock YouTube channel.
I'll have their YouTube channels down below, their Twitch channels down below in the description. Show them some love, guys. I appreciate people who watching this video. I appreciate the homies yapping for about an hour now.
Yeah, it was much fun.
It's fun. It's been cool. Thank you all. And if you guys, you know, let me know down in the comments what you guys want to see, what you guys want us to yap about next, and what class are you most excited for. Would love to hear that. And while you're down there, just fucking subscribe. That would be dope. That would be so cool.
Yeah, hit the sub button.
Especially if you sat through this goddamn hour session, dude. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
And the like button for the algo, please.
Yeah, please.
Comment. I mean, yeah. Tell us who your favorite Devastation Evoker is in North America, as long as it's one of us.
We don't care about anybody else.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. What's that? What else is there to say?
I guess that's it.